A bag of frozen peas costs half the price of fresh ones sitting right next to it. You reach for the fresh because frozen means lower quality. But those fresh peas were picked up to 14 days ago. The frozen ones were picked this morning. After 5 days in your refrigerator, studies show the frozen bag actually has more vitamins than the fresh one. So which one is really the better choice? Certain frozen products that brands work very hard to keep you from noticing. Modern frozen food begins with one man standing beside a fishing hole in the Arctic. In 1912, a naturalist named Clarence Birdseye traveled to Labrador in northern Canada. The Inuit people there fished through thick frozen lakes in temperatures of -40 degrees. Fish pulled from the water froze almost instantly in the brutal air. Months later, thawed and cooked. It tasted completely fresh. Birdseye understood exactly why. The extreme cold froze the fish so fast that ice crystals had no time to grow large enough to damage the cells inside. Back in New York, commercially frozen fish tasted mushy and watery. That fish had been frozen slowly. Slow freezing gave ice crystals time to expand and puncture cell walls. When the food thawed, those damaged cells leaked fluid, and the texture collapsed completely. Birdseye spent a decade building machines that replicated what Arctic air did naturally. By 1930, the frozen food aisle was born. Here is the science that changes everything. Water makes up 60 to 90% of most fresh produce. When temperature drops below zero, that water crystallizes. Slow freezing creates large crystals that pierce and destroy cell walls. At fast freezing creates millions of tiny crystals simultaneously. Those microcrystals are too small to cause damage. The cell structure stays intact. Nutrients stay locked in. This is called flash freezing. And in a modern facility, the entire process from farm to frozen takes just hours. Vegetables are harvested, washed, and blanched in steam at around 90 degrees Celsius for about 90 seconds. Blanching stops the enzymes inside the vegetable that would otherwise keep breaking down vitamins even while frozen. It stops the biological clock completely. Then they enter a freezing tunnel blasting air at -40 degrees. Each piece freezes individually within minutes. Packed, sealed, and stored at -18 degrees, where microbial growth stops entirely. The food is not dead. It is suspended exactly as it was at the moment of peak ripeness. Compare that to the fresh vegetables next to them on the shelf, picked before peak ripeness to survive the long journey, spending up to 2 weeks in trucks and cold storage, losing nutrients every single day. By the time you cook them 5 days after buying, they may have lost up to 50% of their original vitamin C. The frozen version still has most of it. Now here is the warning nobody puts on the label. Not everything in the frozen aisle went through this process. Plain frozen vegetables with one ingredient are genuinely preserved food, but frozen meals, ready dinners, and processed frozen products are something completely different. Many contain 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams of sodium in a single serving. That is more than half your recommended daily limit in one box. Some contain artificial stabilizers, thickeners, and flavor enhancers that have nothing to do with preservation and everything to do with making cheap ingredients taste acceptable. These products sit in the same aisle, at the same temperature, in similar-looking packaging. Brands spend millions designing that packaging to look natural, fresh, and healthy. The front of the box shows vegetables. The back of the box tells the real story. Before you buy anything from the frozen aisle, flip the bag. Read the ingredient list. A single ingredient means genuinely preserved food. 20 or 30 ingredients means something was manufactured to survive a freezer, not harvested to feed you properly. The frozen aisle is not one category. It never was. It is two completely different products sharing the same cold temperature. One of them is better than you ever thought. The other one is worse than the packaging will ever admit. Now you know which is which. If this changed how you think about your freezer, hit like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.